So, I'm battling my second time battling medical tyranny. The first time was with my girls in school, and then now we're dealing with the local hospital. Um, this morning we were told that we had to have a COVID test for my 4-year-old before they would see her, and that we had to go and get the rapid test done before the doctor was allowed to see her. And that was what they initially told us. So my ex-wife is a nurse, so I try to leave this kind of things in her hands because she's not a sheeple nurse. And so, but sometimes she doesn't push back like she should. Teach their own. Anyway, that's near the point. Not the point or anything. So it's just I trust that end of things with her. But I also know that I have to push my end of things too, because if I don't, then it won't get pushed. So I had to push the issue of the matter of, and I had to have her call the nurse back and say, so you're not going to let us bring our child to the doctor without a test. So you're going to refuse medical treatment for our 4-year-old if we don't do this test. And they basically buckled on it. They said, no, we're not going to refuse. You can bring her in. So then I'm like, well, so what's your policy? You're 1 minute you're saying yes, and then the next minute you're saying no, that it's okay for her to come in. You have to have it, and then, oh, no, it's okay. That's a double wishy-washy standard thing going on here. That's something that's just not acceptable. It's either one way or another. And if it's not, then that option should be right at the beginning of the conversation. Like as soon as that becomes an issue or a part of the conversation, then that's when that should come up. Is it, well, we would really prefer for her to have the test, but you don't have to and you can bring her in. Not pressure. See, these idiots who are pushing this, if you just gave people freedom of choice, they would probably freely do it. But when you're trying to shove it down our throats, it doesn't feel natural. It's not natural in any way, shape, or form, no matter how they cut it. And that's why they have to push it down our throats, because they already know that it's not natural and it's not what it's supposed to be and it's not going to work. So they have to do it this way. But there's always that option, everybody. And my point is that they can tell you all they want that this is what it is, but there's always that other option still, okay? No matter what they say or what they try to make it, how intimidating they may try to make the situation to be, there's still always an option. Okay, so then when we get here, nobody told us this, but the hospital's other policy right now is that nobody is allowed to, only one adult's allowed in the doctor's office unless it's pre-approved by the doctor. And guess what? There's a county cop at the door to make sure that that happens, to help the nurses in case there's anybody that has any issues. Yeah. Anyway. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And so what are you going to do? Argue with the county cops so then you can throw you off the property? But then, like in my situation, it was either I let my child and my ex go in by themselves, or leave, or make a scene. But in this situation, they weren't going to let me, because we explained to them that was not communicated to us. So she did call the doctor's office and then asked the doctor if I would be able to come in. Well, of course, she didn't get the doctor. She got the nurse, and the nurse said no before the sentence even really got out of the lady's mouth. It was no, and she said it wasn't prearranged, so she's not going to change that. Now, the only reason we come to this doctor is because he doesn't force vaccines. He's not a pusher as far as that goes. He respects our freedom of choice as far as that goes. The doctor does. Now, he's in a predicament where he works out of the hospital because of Obamacare's wonderful stuff. Decided that it wanted to make everything so the doctors basically can't have their own practices. And because of insurance purposes and different things, that they have to work under the umbrella of a hospital. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to do what they need to do. And so these doctors have to bend some of their moral codes and values because they have to work under the umbrella of the hospital in order to keep going, and they have to make their money because some of them are still in debt from their doctor's degree, and others of them live such a lifestyle that they can't do anything different or choose not to do anything different. For all you doctors and stuff out there that and nurses, y'all took an oath to protect life, and that's the gist of your oaths, is to protect life. But when you're not being honest with yourself, you're not being honest with the people that are around you, and you're trying to pedal push pharmaceuticals upon everybody, and you're not really teaching anybody real healthcare, all you're doing is peddling drugs. It's sickness care, it's not healthcare. And you're just feeding the sickness in order to keep your pockets full instead of feeding those that need it and healing them with your knowledge and your things of ways and other ways. There's other ways besides medications. Everything doesn't have to be shot up. It's a toxicity or a deficiency. 90% of things that are going on, and sometimes it gets to a point where the toxicity and or the deficiency is so great that the body can't overcome it. And that's what you want. That's what you people, and if you say no, then you're not looking at your medicine and what you're doing. You're not being honest with what you're doing. You're not being honest what you're peddling upon people as truth, as being the only way. Because your way isn't the only way. It's not all about pills. It's not all about a shot. Our bodies are amazing when they're left alone. But you want to start messing with them from the time they're a child. So, a baby, not a child, a baby. When they first come out of the womb, you want to shoot them up. That's a great idea. The body doesn't even know what it's doing yet. You want to shoot it up full of things. It's mad scientist shit. It's like Dr. Frankenstein shit. It really is. And it's only going to get worse from here. Especially if people don't stand up. Look, my daughter's not getting a COVID test. She's not getting a COVID shot. And she'll never get a vaccine in her body. And I stand my ground on that. Over my dead body. It's the only way that's happening. Because it's my duty as their father to protect them at all cost from all enemies. Even the ones that look like they're our friends. Even those sheep's and wolves clothing. It's my duty to sniff them out and make sure that my children are safe. And if I'm not doing that, then I am failing as a father. And all mothers and fathers are failing when they don't do that. Now here's the other thing I want to say about that. Is there are times where situations come about where there is not a damn thing you can do about it and you have to do what you have to do. I get it as a parent. I get it. But you make sure before you make that choice, you've done everything possible for any other outcome. Because, like I tell everybody, it ain't about me. The things I do ain't about me. Everything I do in this world is for my children. And the children of this world, because they are the ones that are going to inherit all this mess. They're the ones that are going to be left with all this. Or chained to it, one or the other. And it's up to us to make sure that they are protected and they're as pure as they possibly can be. I will not let anyone take that purity away from them. It won't be because of me, and it won't be because of my lack of doing. And that's what every single mother and father in this world is supposed to do for their children. Because they know no different. They are defenseless, and it is our job to make sure they are safe. Anyway. The medical tyranny is real people. It's everywhere. Small town USA. It's everywhere. Small town, big town. It's creeping its little creeps in. Everywhere. And as long as we sit here and say nothing and don't do anything, it's going to get stronger. Like any weed that grows. You don't tend to it, it's going to end up overtaking everything you have. Chokes out the real and the fruit and the goodness. Anyway, just a little rant. I hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody had a Merry and Happy Christmas. Stand up. Doesn't have to be in a violent way. Just don't consent. Richie from Boston's told us a long time ago, we do not consent, so stop consenting. We don't have to do these things that they tell us that we have to. They're not things. If it violates our rights as a human being, we do not have any. We have no bind to that. We have no bound to that. I don't give a what fucking shit they want to try to make us feel bad. What guilt trip they want to give us. It is our right as human beings. Our right to say, no, you're not doing that. It's my body. I'm not letting you do that. You don't have the right. I don't give you permission. And take your shit on down the road. And if you don't agree with me, that's too bad. I don't agree with you, so we agree to disagree. Go on about your lives and live the best you can. Alright, I gotta get off here. Been on here for a little bit. I love y'all. Y'all take care. Peace, love, and bubblegum. And we'll talk on the flip side. Later, all.